Hey guys, it's Tundra again. This time I'm in an undisclosed location somewhere in in the general Boston area. Don't think I've crossed the state line into Massachusetts just yet, but who fucking cares? Anyway, today I'm going to be talking about how there is no such thing as America. America does not exist anymore. For those of you who don't know my story, I lost 19 days of my freedom without any kind of trial or anything like that. Moreover, I lost those 19 days of freedom. They will say on paper it was an involuntary commitment, but one, I've never seen anything signed by a judge, and two, the way they got that commitment order was illegal, by coercing me into signing paperwork when I didn't, by not letting me speak to an attorney first, by not informing me of my rights, and by forcing medication on me. Legally speaking, I can, they cannot say, legally speaking, they're not allowed to say, the staff at a hospital are not allowed to say, even if you are there involuntarily, they are not allowed to say, take this medication or we will keep you indefinitely or anything like that, which is what they often did. Hell, sometimes they said straight up, if you don't take your meds, we're not going to give you food. So, oh well, America doesn't exist anymore. Moreover, America doesn't exist if some random Fed can just blow your head off in broad daylight and get away with it. Moreover, I would go so far as to say, I don't even want to talk about fucking the thing that happened to Renee Good. I don't want to, because there's nothing to talk about. What's there to talk about? You can say, yeah, Jonathan Ross was a 20-year veteran of the force or whatever, but obviously he wasn't paying attention in those 20 years, because I'll put it to you this way, I don't have as much many years under my belt as he does, but I'll put it to you this way, real talk. I'm smart enough to know I'm an untrained civilian, right? At least on paper. And I'll tell you this, I'm smart enough to know not to put myself in front of a fucking vehicle. You never stand behind the vehicle directly. You never stand in front of the vehicle directly. You get yourself on either side of it. Unless if it's more than like 15 feet away. And even then, I would say that's a bit dodgy. Moreover, I would go so far as to say society as we understood it no longer exists. What do I mean by that? Well, what is a society? A society implies that people are socializing, that people are forming family units, people are marrying, people are having kids, people are going to school, going to church. Meanwhile, I am one of it's probably well more than 7 million men. Hey, Scott Galloway, it's more than 7 million prime-age men who are not working nor looking for work. Me, I'm not working, nor am I looking for work. I pretend to work. I pretend to look for work. I pretend, today I applied on Indeed. And I do go on Indeed and I apply, but I never get anything back. I just do it to kill time. I go on Indeed just to kill time, really. Me being interviewed by Scott Galloway would be funny as hell, because I would have an earful for him. He does not know. He talks a lot about how badly our young men in this country have it. I'm 29 years old, and trust me when I say he doesn't know how bad it is. Y'all didn't hear it from me, but there are some people out here in this country who are turning to banditry. Like straight up just banditry, like this is the medieval era. So how good is your country when a 27-year-old has to turn to banditry to feed himself? Like, at that point, your country is cooked if people are turning to banditry. In a couple of years, this will be like Nigeria, but with white people. There will be bandits everywhere. That's not a dig at Nigerians or black people. That's just a fact. There's a banditry problem in Nigeria. Any Nigerian will tell you the same, that there are parts of Nigeria that are very unsafe. In any event, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking to myself, there's no such thing as society anymore. We have achieved Margaret Thatcher's wet dream of there is no society. It's all a bunch of individuals just doing their own thing. And that's more or less what we have in America. I mean, think about it. The average man, he wakes up alone. He eats breakfast alone. He goes to his car and drives to work alone. Assuming he does work. And then when he's done working, which is probably the only time in his life where he's able to socialize, he comes home alone and he just stays in his room alone. We are all just now like human batteries for capitalism. It sucks. Moreover, this country is very, very isolating. America is a very isolating experience. What do I mean by that? Well, when I was in Iceland, I didn't feel that isolated, even though Icelanders don't really talk to strangers or anything, and they kind of keep to themselves, and they're a very reserved people. But I knew that if I needed to ask a stranger for something, that they would help me. There is that mutual kind of vibe of trust, because it's a high trust society where there's nothing bad ever happening, blah, blah, blah. Whereas in America, I expect anybody just for fun. And only in America can this happen. Can somebody do a mass pew-pewing for fun? Like, that's the only country where we have this kind of shit going on. And America's it's very isolating. And I live like a modern day hermit. I wake up alone, I go to sleep alone, I drive around alone. 99%, apart from my like 2 or 3 phone calls I make to my friends and family, I am alone. I don't know anybody. I don't got nobody out here. And I'll be going to a furry convention soon, so if you see footage from A&E, that's where I'm at. And for anybody who might be following my stupid ass in the hopes of getting product, tough shit. I'm not about that life no more. I have never ever in Minecraft dealt drugs. I don't deal drugs no more. If I am a drug dealer and a pimp and a gun runner and all this the various other accusations they couldn't prove in court, I'll put it to you this way. I don't do any of that shit no more. It's a new year. I'm trying to go straight. And that's on Jaw. But no, anyway, I'm gonna be real with y'all. America's just very isolating. It's a very lonely experience. I feel that, like, everything is very superficial. These people call you a friend, but friend just means like person you know, or person you know the name to. It doesn't mean like an actual feeling of mutual trust or respect. Like these people will call me friend, and then like I've said on this channel before, my birthday will roll around, and the only 2 people talking to me are these 2 twinks that I fucked silly down in Philadelphia, or some hookup I had when I was stuck in the middle of some rural town in Iowa. Like that's just how it is. Like, some of these people, they will sit there and say with a straight face that oh yeah, no, I'm your friend, blah blah blah, and you can tell me anything. And then like 2 months later, they're gone. They will catch feelings for you, and then 2 months later, they'll vanish into the ether, back into the internet. It really does feel, I hate to say this, but the older I get, the more it feels like NPC theory is real, because like it feels like I'm having the same 4 conversations with the same person, even knowing I'm talking to like 20 different people. I don't know if anyone else is getting that kind of feeling, but that's what I've been going through as of late. I really do feel like there is some credence to NPC theory, as much as I hate to say that, because it's a dumb 4chan thing. And if you're wondering where the fuck I'm going to the nearest Quick Check. I'm gonna get myself something to eat. But yeah, no, this whole country, as it stands now, it feels like the simulation's just fucking collapsing. And the thing is too, with the whole thing that goes on with Renee Good and whatnot, that goes back to what I said in a previous vlog. The whole country is eating itself. These people have been sworn to serve and protect, but the only thing they're serving and protecting are the corporate people, the corporate overlords and the prison industrial complex that runs this country. They don't have any kind of, they're not serving and protecting anybody. They're not serving and protecting Renee. They didn't serve or protect Renee Good, I'll tell you that. That's just my opinion on the matter. Now, when it comes to the future and what the future holds, I don't know. Because I'm going to be honest, I am exactly where I did not want to be. At 18, I remember leaving high school, and I'm like, no matter what, I do not want to be a basement-dwelling NEET who's living with his parents, and I don't want to be homeless either. Those are the 2 things I didn't want. And now, fast forward to the age of 29, that's the choice I have. I can either continue being homeless and living out of my Jeep, or I can go back to living with my parents. Either way, my stupid ass is not getting a job. I would go so far as to say I have given up on the idea of me ever getting a fucking job. So Scott Galloway, if you want to write another book, talk to me. My lines are open. My lines are open. Leave a comment, hit me up on Telegram. Do what you got to do. Do what you got to do, man. Do what you got to do. Because I would kill for someone to take an interest in my story, because I have a long and very turbulent and very storied life. And the thing is too, is I never asked for any of this. I never asked for, I'll put it to you this way. Walmart said no to me. High school, like the colleges, most of them said no to me. I wasn't lucky enough to go to Princeton. I wasn't lucky enough to go to, hell, I wasn't lucky enough to get a job at Walmart. I couldn't even join the Army. That's how bad things are. Back when I was trying to join the Army, I was 23 years old. I just turned 23. I was 23 years old. I was in pretty damn good shape. I was maybe like 190 pounds, not even, maybe like 180. You name the MOS, I was down to do it. I was down to even do like 11 Bravo shit. I didn't care. Like I wanted whatever job the Army could give me. I thought about, and the thing is too, is it wasn't just the Army. I was open to pretty much any of the branches. I was gonna go Army simply because you could choose your MOS. But I was figuring, hey, if I can't join the Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force, and Coast Guard are right there. And this was before the Space Force. I would, younger me would have joined the Space Force. But as it stands now, like, forget it. Like, and the thing is too, is I must have lucked out. I got the one honest Army recruiter in the whole I got the one honest recruiter in the entire U.S. military, because I sit down with this woman, right? I sit down with Staff Sergeant so-and-so, recruiter, U.S. Army, and I talk to her, and I'm like, listen, here's my medical history. Here's, some of the stuff I have. Let me know right now, do we even bother going to MEPS? And MEPS is the medical screening. And this goes back to the point I'm trying to make of there's no society, is there's no program for people who are exceptionally talented and want to join the military but can't on account of like autism or whatever. So because I have autism, because there are things outside of my control that I never chose to have, such as autism, unfortunately, I could not join the Army. It's against DoD policy. And because it's against DoD policy, I can't join any of the branches. I can't join the reserves. I can't join anything associated with Department of Defense. That's Army, Navy, Air Force, Space Force. Fucking shit, I can't even join I can't even be a corrections officer, if I remember correctly. So that's another thing too. If you have autism, right, in America, forget it. You are not going to have a good time. It is going to soft lock you out of a lot of jobs. So I know that I'm not going to get no job. I know that, they gotta put a light at this fucking intersection. Jesus Christ. I'm not gonna get no job. I'm screwed. Society does not want me. I'm gonna be going back to my hikikomori phase. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Like, I don't care anymore. I'm going back to being a hiki. I don't care. And I know that's like not what I wanted, and I am going to be the worst hiki ever. I'm gonna crash out at least once a week. But I'd rather crash out than just sit there and fucking take it like somebody's fucking whipping boy. I hate to invoke this because I know it's very stupid and childish, but sometimes I do feel like the guy from Falling Down, Defense or Forrester, whatever the fuck his name is. I genuinely do feel like that some days, where it's just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna crash out because what's there to lose? Here's the thing, look at it from my perspective. I have no incentive to behave. I have no incentive at all. There's no positive reinforcement. Nobody is telling me, hey, if you behave and not crash out, I'll give you a cookie or something, or I'll get you housing or whatever. There's no incentive for me to do that kind of shit. Same with, there's no incentive for me to, let me scoot forward here a little bit. There's no incentive for me to, behave myself. There's no incentive at all. It's not like, oh, hey, if you go X amount of days out of the psych ward, we'll give you a cookie, or if you behave yourself in the psych ward, we'll get you hooked up with, a therapist that knows how to deal with PTSD. That's another thing too. I've never had a therapist that knew how to deal with PTSD. I've never had any therapist who was trained in that kind of thing, So there's that. Since I'm on a weird incline, I'm gonna put my fucking parking brake on. My handbrake here. But yeah, no, I sat there and I think to myself, like, there's no incentive. And if there's no incentive to behave, you don't really have a society anymore now, do you? You just have a bunch of people pretending that there is a society when there isn't. Similar to how there's there's life, death, and undeath. There's a zombie. I think we live in a zombie society. We live in the unsociety. We live in a world where we live in a weird amalgamation where there's parts of a society. There's police and people are paying taxes, but the actual functions of those organs are just gone. They don't function anymore. No one is socializing. No one's going to fucking church. And the thing is too, is there's no incentive to do any of those things. What is the point in me going to let's say church? Why would I go to church? I'm an atheist. Jobs, same thing. Why would I go to why would I bother getting a job and saving up my money, knowing full well that I'm never going to own a home? Hell, I'm so far behind on that relay race at pushing 30. I doubt I'm ever going to move out of my parents' house. And that's another thing too, is like, what landlord is going to approve somebody like me? Someone who has an income of food stamps and Social Security. Who's going to sign off on that? Nobody. Hey, if there's a landlord out there who's watching this, prove me wrong. But still, forget it. And that's the issue with America as it stands now, is there's no positive reinforcement. There's nothing here that says, hey, if you work hard and get good grades, you'll actually make it, because that's what I did. I worked hard. I had, a 3.8 GPA, and that didn't get me anywhere. And there's also no deterrence either. There's no negative reinforcement, because I've lost multiple days of my freedom. Again, I'm always going to say this, 19 days of my freedom, no charges. So if I can lose my freedom without charges, what that says to me is I don't have any due process. And moreover, the shit they were holding against me in court was like, oh, he has an anarchist symbol on one of his t-shirts, blah, blah, blah. It was all evidence that you would think would be protected by the First Amendment. Now, if you don't have a First Amendment right to say long live anarchy without some sort of legal repercussion or civil repercussion or anything like that, then at that point, man, you're fucked, dude. You're fucked. So at that point, it's just like, fuck do I care? Fuck do I care? I don't care anymore. I'm at the point now where I just don't care. This country is just rotting away. It's like a limb that someone tied off a long time ago, and now it's at the point where it's not just there's no blood flow. Now it's just rotting. It's just necrotized. That's how this country seems to be. And I would say we cut off the blood flow well before I was born. It was well before the 90s. I would say the beginning of the end of the American Empire goes back to like the Vietnam War. I would say the Vietnam War. In any event, that's all I gotta say. There's no negative reinforcement. There's no positive reinforcement. You can lose your freedom over anything at the drop of a hat. And if you don't have your constitutional rights to have a certain political belief, at that point, there's no deterrent. Like, going to jail isn't a deterrent, because you know that they're going to throw me in prison regardless. They're going to throw me in prison for shits and giggles, so why fucking behave? So now there's no deterrence and there's no incentives. And that's a very bad recipe for us. That's a very bad combination for a society. That is like a society. Imagine a society as a body. No incentives and no deterrence. That is basically the social equivalent of, not only do you have HIV, you also have cancer. So this country is on its way out, definitely. I would go so far as to say, I think assuming I live to see 80, I'm probably going to live to see the fall of America as a country. And I think if America does exist 10 years from now, it's going to be an America we will not recognize. It will be a type of America that will be completely alien to us. I think it will be one of two things. Either America will balkanize, or America will become just a straight up dictatorship. It will be like Russia. We will have to get used to the idea of our neighbors just vanishing in the middle of the night, assuming we even have neighbors. The majority of Americans don't even know who their neighbors are. If you asked me, hey, do you know any of your neighbors? I would say no, because I don't know any of them. I know there was a woman, an old woman who lived in the apartment above mine, and I know that there was like this Italian guy and his mom and his grandma that lived in an apartment next to mine, and that's kind of where it ends. But yeah, that's all I gotta say. Sorry for the sun glare. Peace out.